My career journey has deviated from what I thought my career plan was going to be in a couple of different ways. I graduated college 25 years, a little more than 25 years ago, industrial engineering degree. I thought I was going to work in manufacturing my whole career. Different leadership type roles is what I aspired to. B, I thought I was going to work for large corporations my entire career.
I totally get
and that was going according to plan. I had a chance to go to grad school full time for 2 years, and I came back to a large corporate environment. My second employer was 1/10 the size of my first, going from like 300,000 employees globally to 30,000 employees. And then I started realizing, like, maybe this is not a good fit for me. I went and worked for a startup software company in Austin, Texas for about 4 years. Let the pendulum swing way too far to go work for another large global manufacturing company. And then in 2005, there was some serendipity where I had the opportunity to start applying what I had learned in the manufacturing realm into healthcare. And that's been my primary focus for 15 plus years now, applying ideas from engineering, systems design, leadership and management concepts as a consultant in healthcare. So now, I've ended up, as a solopreneur who often partners up and works with different organizations that are still small-ish, but usually serving clients that are 10,000 plus employees. So I get exposed enough to the big organization environment, but doing so in a different way than I thought my career was going to play out.
So your podcast, My Favorite Mistake, now how did that come about? What kind of sparked that for you?
So I think, the work that I do is based around concepts that often get labeled as the Toyota production system. I started my career in the automotive industry. General Motors was clearly trying to catch up to Toyota by copying as much of the Toyota playbook as they could.
Yeah.
This often gets described more broadly as quote unquote lean manufacturing, or in startup circles, there's a methodology that's related called lean startup. And so I think one of the core leadership philosophies or organizational culture elements of this quote unquote lean approach is not blaming individuals for systemic problems. And then this is where, if this were a documentary, the narrator might jump in and say, there are almost always systemic problems. And there are different problems that could be labeled as mistakes in a workplace. And I think there are two elements of when that happens, is it fair and just to the employee to punish them for said mistake? And is it better for the organization in the long run? Whether it's a factory or a software company or a hospital, is it better for the organization to punish the individual? And I would say, no, it's not better for the organization. So this idea of creating an environment where it's safe for people to point out mistakes, whether they had a role in creating it, whether they were involved, or it's just a problem they see the effect of. That's such an important part of this lean and Toyota-based methodology, where I think then in different ways. I wrote a book, or I was writer / editor / publisher of a book a few years back called Practicing Lean, where 15 other authors and myself shared a story early in our career of something that we would have considered a mistake that was born out of inexperience and enthusiasm, maybe. And what did we learn from that? And reflecting about it, and the one core theme of that book, Practicing Lean, was this idea of, look, we all make mistakes. And some of it's a reminder to myself to not be too judgmental when somebody else who is early in their career or early in their practice makes a quote unquote mistake.